Okay, abusua ba makwa ba bio e de ba gossip politics TV so abusua yembonra yensemu Pandai rerun of election Supreme Court ne final ruling now the ba bonten ene NPP eni giana omo giana omo tunyum bia me to kire mo the elephant the rain symbol we are here to save Ghana. I stand to be corrected and you mentioned that name to abusua sisia NDC for any abriye ankasa Mathew Nyandam Pandai constituency MP no abusua asem atom abusua sa Mathew Nyandam according to lawyer Martin Pebuno say one misleading a court as he say no he is set to be punished according to investigations of course so NPP for it can NDC election team no yedi kan de brem say omo ko review na review na omo ko no per document ene files a NDC for no epuli ababonten no bibi a kire say Mathew Nyandam entro na okutwa e de kire Supreme Court na asotwe a edi ekire ba enye asotwe ketwa enye asotwe ketwa kra say one misleading court no ewo entro bia efa Pandai elections no Pandai ono NPP for erege Jimensa any electoral commission eboa NPP ma omo rege sa elections no and oshe NDC elections team na ma di Gabriel mo ene Dr. Rashid Tankomo oshe adwuma omo ya almost a region of elections there to etwa ewo Ghana ase enti Mathew Nyandam abusua sisi and he is set to be punished still one mislead the court no me yanko na yanko ti lawyer Martin Pebu nsem bia or the etudwa efa on subscribe like and share ma afofron so answer into me and don't forget to click on the notification bell so never any update be ever dropping on once every to me akabi gossip politics TV so madam say
an interested party in this matter, I would have you speak on the final note because of some of the things that he has referenced. Now, Martin Bebo, on the outcome of this case, obviously the Nelson Russell Dafemepo, who has been leading the NDC in this particular issue, has clearly stated their decision to seek a review. We will get to know the full reasoning of the Supreme Court majority-minority by February 6th. Which is just sometime next week. And what exactly influenced their decision. But until then, what's your view on the outcome?
Okay, so because we don't have the full reasoning, it's difficult to stick out one's neck one way or the other. Okay? But in the interim, one of the things that is stuck with me is how Nyandam did that affidavit. You see? And then they had to strike out the first case. Yeah, the thing about the Gazette publication, saying that, they no knowing it was even EC that caused it, right? By saying that the publication was done on 24th. Honorable Dafemepo, let me read it again, the letter. You see, so that particular thing, and you see where Honorable Dafemepo started, the issue of the supervisory jurisdiction is discretionary. And the Supreme Court has always been, I mean, there are decisions that show that if you come and your hands are not clean, sometimes they will use that as basis to dismiss your case. So how did Nyandam go to the High Court, the affidavit is swore, to say that, the EC, the Gazette date wasn't 23rd, but 24th, and the court agreed. So based upon that, they were able to strike out the first application that was made to the court, right? And that's very key, that one party comes to the court. Oh, my lord, this case that has been brought is being brought prematurely, all right, because the EC did not gazette the results on the 23rd, but it's rather 24th. The case was struck out.
Yes.
Then Nikwaku went and prepared and came back with a new case. Then with this new case, it turns out too that you're saying, no, that's not the date. It means that the first one was a mistake.
Yeah.
So the role that he's played in the first case being thrown out, and then now coming back to benefit is something. I appreciate that. Well, it's a constitutional provision that is at stake. And that is to say that once these are constitutional provisions, these are, the representation of people's law, saying that you can file within 21 days after the results have been gazetted. Yes, so I see that what is at stake is a matter of representation of the people. So it's a big issue. So what I'm beginning to think is that perhaps in the eyes of the majority, because it involves representation of the people, maybe they would not punish Nyandam for it, okay, for misleading the court, and now he's benefited from it, okay? So it's difficult. It's a difficult one, but otherwise, if we're using plain principles, he too has something to answer for his rule, so that the principles will be upheld, that if you come and yourself, that's a person comes to the court for supervisory jurisdiction. In simple terms, the person wants an order to be cancelled, wants a court decision, that's a high court judgment to be thrown out, etc. The question is that he himself, are his hands clean? Is he clean? Has he misled the court in the recent past? And then now he turns around to come again that, oh, no, this second case that has been filed is been filed out of time. You see, so his conduct is something that I hope the court, even the majority itself, will take time to answer.
But you agree with me that they would have looked at all of this?
And that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying, that we are waiting for the reasons, and I'm hoping.
Yes, but the decision has been made looking at all of these things.
And I'm saying that.
So we understand the reasons.
Yes, how they did that.
You gave the impression as if they haven't looked at it and you think they should. Okay, so they looked at all of that.
I said we have, even I started by saying that to the extent that we don't have the reasons, we cannot stick out our necks one way or the other. So it tells you that
but they've looked at all of that.
I'm not sticking out my neck. So that's how I paraphrase it. I said it, you can call back. I said, because we haven't seen the reasons, nobody can stick out their neck one way or the other. So it means that this comment, I'm being very nuanced, very, very careful, because I'm not seeing the reasons, right? And we also know that, well, by our society too, they will say we can't keep quiet 100% until safe. So make a few comments and leave it. So what I'm saying is that I'm hoping that the decision of the majority will adequately answer Nyandam's own conduct. His conduct, the affidavit he deposed to. Okay, let's read that paragraph 8. That's very, very instructive, because you go to court, you go and mislead the court, then tomorrow you come again and come and say another thing. Now you are a beneficiary, right? Yes, it's something that...
I see. Well, so...
I'm just reading... the paragraph said, when you read it a bit, it helps. It makes the point. Okay. It says that available records show that the parliamentary election results of the 7th December 2024 nationwide, nationwide, including that of Pandai constituency, were published in the Gazette or gazetted by the Electoral Commission on 6th January 2025, attached here to and marked as Exhibit 3 is a copy of the page of the Gazette publication of the parliamentary election results, showing that of Pandai constituency. That leave shall be sought to show the soft copy of the full results, okay, to the Honorable Court.
Okay.
Right? Yes.
Counsel, thank you. Justice Abdullah, very quickly on this.
Right.
Parliament resumes on Tuesday. What's going to happen? Will Mathew Nyandam be able to just walk in and resume his seat?
Of course.
Oh, obviously not. I mean, not that way, because he still has to follow the procedure by officially informing the House of this decision of the Supreme Court. And then obviously, I think from that point, then the Speaker may have no choice than to allow him into Parliament. But I needed to point out that the decision as made by the Supreme Court, as against his decision in the case of what's it called, the Republic versus the High Court Koforidia, that's the NSC Alchemist case, appears to be consistent with itself. That was 11th of June, when the Supreme Court was delivering a ruling on the same subjects involving the two issues of the Gazette publications. The Supreme Court preferred the Gazette of 24th of December as against the new one of 6th June. Okay. I'm sorry, 6th January. And so if you go by that, I think there's some level of consistency by the Supreme Court in sticking to what it had done in the past. But this new information about the Electoral Commission denying its own Gazette throws this whole issue into a complete mess. It throws everything into a complete mess. And so I can understand the pain of Roxanne, because really, these are official conduct and official information published by the Electoral Commission, relied on the basis upon which members of Parliament are today members of Parliament. Roxanne and his colleagues are members of Parliament by virtue of the 6th January 2025, Gazette. Mm-hmm. And so to say that as at 6th January, I mean, the two different publications, one is an error, a mistake, and the other is not, then what becomes of all the decisions that have been that relied on the 6th January till date? I think it presents a very complex issue, and unfortunately, the Supreme Court, having been consistent with a particular one, that is the 24th December Gazette, I don't know how they are going to treat this alleged error of publications of the Gazette by the same Electoral Commission, and because I do not think that the response that it's an error is enough to simply wash away all the mess that it has created. That cannot be, and we need to pursue that. And in fact, it's for that reason that I have consistently supported the NDC to go for the review that they intend doing, because I think it would only help all of us to sanitize the system, because simply by apologizing and saying that it's an error is not an answer to a question like this. Okay. But there's one thing that I need to point out. I remember the last time I came here when we discussed this same subject matter, I had commended the Supreme Court for staying the Electoral Commission from rerunning the parliamentary election. And my position, unfortunately, appears vindicated by the new decision, because what would have happened, just imagine if the Electoral Commission had gone on with a rerun. Mm-hmm. It would mean that potentially we would have had a member of Parliament for 1 month, and today another member of Parliament. That would have been a complete disaster. A complete disaster. I mean, that would have set the record, arguably one of the worst records in the history of the Republic, that we have two existing living members of Parliament concurrently, within 1 month of being members of Parliament. And so sometimes what we all need to do is to be careful the way we over-criticize it. We do have positions. We do have sentiments to express, but it is sometimes better to hold on to our horses and await our ultimate outcome, just so we can have a better views expressed on matters such as this.
Thank you, Justice Abdullahi. Thank you very much. And Dr. Sasante, very quickly on this.
Right.
So we round up.
In any democratic enterprise, when you go through election, there are two options. You win or you lose. But when you win, the one who loses, you have to accept defeat and abide by the rules of the game. But if you are in doubt, then you seek audience with the court for redress. I am happy that those who won today, having criticized the court so much, today they are happy they won. Those who lost said, yes, we've lost, we've taken the decision, we have read it, we are waiting the judgment of the court, but we are preparing for a review. For me, these are all the things we as democratic watchers, we are interested in. that you don't use the barrel of the gun, but you use due process. So I am looking forward to the day that the Supreme Court, the NDC will make their case there for a review, and then what will come out as the judgment, we all follow from there. So I am waiting patiently, and then the decision of the court in this matter will come to strengthen the frontiers of our democracy and make our democracy solid.
Perfect. Thank you very much for these comments. And as to still
Education Minister Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, former Vice President, also Kwabena Japan and Kennedy Ohene Japan. From morning, we've been hearing from all of them. Some of them have already cast their vote. We've brought you those updates, as well as what's happening in the various constituencies across the country. My name is Beatrice Edu. This is our continuous coverage of the NPP presidential primary happening across the country. Over 200,000 delegates voting to select a leader into the 2028 general election. Let me acknowledge my guests within this period. I do have, just on my left side, Mr. Ebo Bakman, who is Deputy Director of Communications with the United Party. Good morning. Actually, it's afternoon. It's past 12. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yes. I have a video call with me, Professor Enoch Opoku-Enchi, who is a governance expert as well as a policy analyst. Prof, we can see you. I hope you can see and hear us. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Beatrice, I can see you very clear.
And you're looking
Yes.
fresh, Prof.
I to Ebo at the studio. Ebo, how are you?
I'm fine, Prof. You're looking fresh, eh?
Well, I'm learning from you.
It's been a while. Calm down, calm down. We miss you a lot.
I will be home very soon.
Oh, okay.
We'll be joined as well by Professor Smart Sapon, who is Director of Research and Innovation at the Kumasi Technical University. I'm not doing this alone. I'll be joined by my colleague Martin Asiedu-Date, who will be taking us through some files as well as some data to bring all these conversations into perspective. But before we go into such analysis, perhaps I should get your preliminary thoughts on what has transpired so far. And I did say that we've heard some of the candidates after they cast their votes this morning, so urging delegates to vote for them. Mr. Bobakman, your observation of what has happened so far?
Well, I would say so far so good. I think in terms of organization, they've done well so far. The police presence has also helped. This is supposed to be normal elections, so we don't expect any issue in respect of the kind of things we heard from the supporters in the run-up to these elections. So I can only wish them well. If they continue like that to the end, I think it will be good for the party. What the party needs, for me, is how to reorganize the party even after today's elections. Having a smooth election, it should be normal. It shouldn't be something that should be talked about for a political party to have a peaceful election. It shouldn't be anything strange. But after the election, how are you able to put your party together? How are you able to bring the candidates together and their supporters together, for me, is what is important. So far, I would say so good. It's a good feather in their cap.
It's a good feather in their cap. Professor Enoch Opoku-Enchi, what will be your thoughts as regards what has transpired since morning?
I agree with, let me say greetings to the viewers everywhere in the world. I agree with Ebo to a large extent about how calm it has been, and we know that candidates have done their jobs. They've gone to all the constituencies, they have campaigned, they have relayed their messages to the people, and this is the time of delegates. And I want to say quick things about delegates. See, they are the most important stakeholders in our grassroots democracy. And apart from that, they are also the most neglected in the political party. So people neglect them after they vote, and they only come back to them when there's an important election. Then they are the ones with the most loyalty to candidates. So if you look at all the 5 candidates that are contesting, they have their loyal base from the delegates. apart from Cabinet Japan, who don't have a base of a constituency that he sits in, all the other candidates have got a lot of large following from the delegates. Then there are the voices of the people. So now we are going to hear the voice of the people from these delegates who they are going for. Then they work with the grassroots more than even the candidates. So if you go to the funerals, if you go to the weddings, these individual delegates who are vying for you are campaigning for you there. So this is the time or the moment of delegates, and they feel the most pain when a candidate loses. So that is why we've been talking about the top-down approach and the ripple effect. Because after this election, that is not the end. There's going to be other ripple effect about who you voted for, who you campaigned for. And that is going to affect the grassroots, the constituency level who will win, the regional level who will win, the national level who will win, because the top candidate have been selected already. And it's going to have a big ripple effect to affect a lot of people at the grassroots. That is why a lot of things are at stake. But I want to conclude my initial comment by saying that the prophets and then the posters are going to be the other part of the losers and the winners. And some people have put their credibility on the line. So we'll see what happens. But I wasn't particularly impressed about some of the posters. You have over 200,000 delegates. And most of the posters had 10,000, 9,000, sample population to determine who is going to win or who is going to lose. That is less than 5%, and that is not representative enough. So moving forward in future posting, when we are doing the posters, they should make sure that at least the sampling population is higher enough. Out of 200,000, if you can have about 50,000, then it's quite better. But less than 5% of the sample population means that the sample error is going to be higher. But this election is just like a Ghanaian movie. We can see the end from the beginning. In Ghanaian movies, you can see the end from the beginning. Once it starts, you know how it's going to end because the storyline is just straight. There are no surprises, there are no suspense.
Okay, abuzia we ne ensema ekọ so e political highway so lawyer Martin Pebu and I training kase or this ensem no to dwa e de amaya enye asem keto abuzia on subscribe like na share ma afofron so ensa into me and there is much interesting moments ahead on a Pandai constituency rerun of election and the Supreme Court kwashe election and ensem bibri if Frenchly eba yaya card say ya better political highway so de amamona busia yen say mumbre mum yen jamunsia any latest update on Pandai rerun and as a Pandai kwasha Supreme Court kwashe elections no ya de bebre mo ha say medamase